Hi, I'm Mrs. Burns, and welcome to section 4.5, finding the number when the percent is known. Now, we have looked at a lot of questions where we know the numbers and we're trying to figure out what the percent is. But today, we're going to figure out what the numbers are based on a percentage that we already know. So let's recap first. Part A is finding the percent. So for this little part A, we just want to recap how to figure out what the percentage is. So if you have two numbers and you want to know what percent one is of the other, for example, down here, 32 over 128, you want to know what percent is 32 out of 128. Well, first, write the numbers as your ratio, so let's do that, 32 over 128. Step 2, that was there. Step 2, determine the decimal equivalent. If you plug that into your calculator, then you will get a decimal of 0.25. And then step 3, multiply by 100%. So 0.25 times 100% will give us 25%. So 32 divided by 128 is 25%. Great, let's try a word example because they're always a little bit trickier. On average, Vancouver has 161 rainy days per year. What percent of the days are rainy? Well, the first thing is we see this word year here. How many days are in a year again? Oh yeah, 365 days are in a year. So we want to know what percent of the days are rainy. Step 1, make it a fraction, 161 over 365. Divide that, 161 divided by 365, and you'll get 0.441 if you plug that into your calculator. Now let's times this number by 100% to get our percentage, 44%. So 44% of the days are rainy, which can be a little bit sad, but it also makes the grass green, so that's always nice. All right, part B. What do we do then if we know the percent and we don't know the numbers? Well, this can be really tricky, so I've given you two methods here. Method 1, you could first find 1% of the number and then multiply that by 100. Or method 2, you could write the percent as a fraction and then the number as an equivalent fraction and then just solve for the unknown. So let's try both ways for our examples here. 8% of a number is 16. What is the number that they're talking about here? Well, let's figure it out. The first one says, first find 1% of the number. Okay, 1% is 16 over 8. So we just take the number over the percent. And if we do this in our head or plug it into our calculator, we're going to get 2. Now the next step, it says to multiply this by 100%. So we say 2. I'm going to say 2.0 just so we know where the decimal place is here. 2.0 times 100% gives us 200. All right, so that is our answer. Let's try method 2, see if we get the same answer, and then we'll check it. Write the percent as a fraction and the number as an equivalent fraction. Okay, so the percent as a fraction would be 8 over 100. And then the equivalent fraction, the other number is 16, and we don't know the total here. So we're going to do something called cross multiplying. So I'm going to crisscross this way and times x by 8 and then 16 by 100. So if I say 8 times x, x is just whatever we don't know, and then 16 times 100. So I just bring the bottom guy up beside the other top side. So now I want x to be by itself so I know what it is. So we need to get rid of it. Well, here we have 8 times x. So we need to do the opposite of timesing to get rid of the 8. What's the opposite of timesing? It's dividing. So let's divide both sides by 8. So we'll get x equals 16 times 100 divided by 8. And if you plug that all into your calculator, 16 times 100 is 1,600 divided by 8 gives you 200. Awesome. Well, they're the same. That's a good check. But we're also going to check another way. We're going to plug it back in to our original number. And I'm going to do this in red. Sorry, we'll do this in green just so you can really see what is going on. So 16 of a number, 200, we figured out the number, equals 8%. So let's see what that equals. If you plug that into your calculator, 16 divided by 200, it gives us 0.08. 0.08 times 100% should give us 8%. And it does. So that is our check that we did it right. Hooray! Last example. Benyam paid $75 of total tax on his new skates. What was the price of his skates? So the total tax he paid was $75, and we know that GST plus PST adds up to be 12% in BC. So 12% was $75. What is the price of the skates? Well, we could do method 1 and say, this is just my 1 for method 1. 1% is 75 over 12. And this as a decimal is 6.25. Multiply that number by 100 is the next step. So that gives us 625. So then my answer would be that the price should be $625. Well, let's try method 2 and see if it still works. Method 2 would say that we have 12% as a decimal is just 12 over 100. This is the same equivalent fraction as 75 over we don't know. So you can put a question mark or x. We're going to cross multiply here. So 12 times x. And then the 75 stays on the other side. Bring up the 100. So we crisscrossed. Instead of dividing, we're crisscross multiplying. Now, to get this 12 out of here, we need x by itself if we know what x is. So here we have 12 times x. So we need to get rid of the 12 by doing the opposite. If we divide this by 12, 12 divided by 12 is just 1x. But whatever we do to 1, we got to do to the other side. So here we're now going to have x equals 75 times 100 over 12. And that should give us 7,500 over 12, which is 625. That's awesome that they both match up, but let's double check just to make sure. So if we have 0.12, because 12% divided by 100 gives us the decimal of 0.12, that's our tax. 0.12 of a purchase of $625. Does this equal $75? Plug it in, let's see. It does equal $75. So that's our check that we did that correct. So our answer is $625. That's our answer. Way to go. So now you are experts at finding the percent of the number, and you've just learned how to figure out what the number is when you know the percent. We're going to practice this in class tomorrow and then review all about percents.